So the difference with a swing and a drive can be quite big. And when you swing something, you don't have nowhere near the control that you do with the drive. Now you think about a hammer, I swing the hammer. The problem is with the swing is, as soon as I've let go of the swing, I've got very little control over that swing. You think about with a jackhammer, which is more of a driving thing, what you're doing is it's driving it forward and pulling it in. And you think if I'm coming out, if I come out halfway, I can slow down and stop. I can come right out and slow. I've got more control over this movement than I have over the, once I throw this, it's swung, it's gone, it's already, I've got no control over it. So I think about, if I put a weight on this chain and I let it go, as soon as I let that go, I've got very little control over it. I can't slow it down, I can't stop it if it's going in the wrong direction. There's just a lot less control. So if I then think about, like with a jackhammer that drives a shot forward and comes out in that strong sort of forward position, then like with this, once this lets go, it's swung and it's almost out of control. Whereas if I'm firing out like this and I've got this control, then I can fire straight out, and I come back and I can control the speed at that. I can slow it down if it's not in the right place. I've just got so much more control and much more precision as well. So another interesting point with this is, if I'm swinging here at long range, if I'm swinging here, then I've got to finish the motion at the end, and it's really hard to sort of get any power with any swing close in. So whereas with the swing you just haven't got the control, with the driving shot, if I then have control over the weight at the end, then rather than just letting it go and it swings and I've got no control, then I can control that, and even if I'm close, I'm in position. I can move out. If I think I'm going to break something, I can stop, I can pull it back. So I've got much more control over the driving motion than I have over the swing. So there's two ways to throw a punch. One way is the driving punch, and one way is a swinging punch. Now the swinging punch is like throwing a stone basically. You think if I step and then as I go to throw the stone, the whip comes through my shoulder drops and then it whips through and then it comes out. And that's a swinging motion. Like I swing a baseball bat. To swing a punch out is I'm coming out, the shoulder drops and then it swings. So you think with a hook, if I throw like that, then if I'm throwing a hook like that, it's that same motion where I come up and then the hand whips forward. That's swinging. The more you exaggerate the whip, the more it looks like a hammer fist. But that's not what I'm actually doing. So if you think about with a boxing punch, if I'm coming in and I'm doing a tight hook, then I'm dropping in there. Because I can't get on the strong position, it has to be a swing. I cannot drive that shot in. Now, if I'm coming over and I'm looking at throwing over and then getting as close to the line as I can, and that's what you find when with the professional boxers, they have a much more refined punch, but they still have to swing at the end because they're not on the power line. So if I come out with a straight shot there, you can see how it could be very, very similar to being in line. And it's what they're doing is they're getting as close to the power line as they can in the gloves, but they have to come off the power line to pull it back in to get that little, you have to put a little extra swing on the end to get it in because they're not on the power line. So as they come in, they just whip that little bit over. Or with a longer, when they're throwing a longer range hook, they'll come in slightly up and then drop in. So the more refined it is, the more they're coming in and just popping over, but as they're coming in it's actually a swing where the elbow is lower and then it drops over. And most boxing gloves have got the shape where you naturally land on the lower knuckles. If I just let my hand go out and just touch that, it doesn't land on the two knuckles. It's like they don't even know they exist. It's designed to land on the lower knuckles like you do in the boxing gloves. So by altering the thumb and designing it a bit better, there's no reason why you couldn't hit with a much stronger punch, the kinetic punch, in the boxing gloves. So even when I'm coming out with a punch like this and I'm rotating round, as you come out like this and it rotates around, that is a swing. If you're coming over, down like this, that is a swing. Even and horizontally as well, even if you're hitting horizontally, that is a swing. So kinetically, what I want to be doing is lining up the forearm with the knuckles in the right position as soon as I can on that direct power line. And that way it becomes a drive rather than a swing. So if I exaggerate that, if I'm from here, if I bring my elbow up into my strongest position, it's like I'm pulling a bow back. If I think about starting at that position, then if I rotate my body and move forward, then that drives my hand out. Whereas if I was swinging, then as I went to move, my shoulder would drop, elbow would follow, and the hand would come through with a punch. It'd be more like this, where I'm just coming over that way, punching horizontal. But they all finish with a swing, because it's a swing in motion. So the drive, as soon as I move, the elbow comes up and it drives in and out on the strong power line. So the sooner I get onto the power line as I'm throwing the punch, the stronger it will be when I deliver the punch. The longer time I spend on that power line, the more power it has. So, swing, drive, swing, drive. So also, just like with the swing demonstrated earlier, you've got nowhere near the control over the punch when you're swinging it out that you have with the drive. So if you think about, if I'm throwing out a standard punch and I'm just rotating at the end, vertical or horizontal again, and I'm just turning at the end there, it's only at the point that I rotate around and turn that my arm is ready to finish the punch. Whereas if I throw a lined up kinetic punch along the power line, almost as soon as I throw that punch, my arm is lined up on the power line. So it never gets on the power line with a boxing punch at all. As soon as I go to throw the punch, I'm lined up with a kinetic punch. So if all of a sudden it moves in or the range changes, which it does 98% of the time, then I'm going to be able to finish that punch at a different range. I've got much more control over this. I can pull that. I don't need to. If I think it's going to hurt, their head drops down. I'm only punching someone in the skull. I've got more control over that. If I've swung the punch and it's already gone, I can't stop that. It's going to hurt. Even if I realise at the point that I'm about to throw it that they're in the wrong position and it will hurt me. You can't do anything about it. Whereas if you throw him with a drive, then you can put the brakes on, you can slow it down, but it's also with the shock waves gives you so much more control.